Hello everyone and welcome to Retail Archaeology. In this episode we'll be taking a look at Bookoff, which is a store that I have been really excited to check out. Bookoff is a used books and media store, and besides books they carry things like music, movies, and video games. The first Bookoff store opened in 1991 in Kanagawa, Japan, and they were founded by Takashi Sakamoto. There are now almost 900 Bookoff stores in Japan, and what makes this location special is this is one of 17 stores that are in the United States. There's 3 stores in New York, 11 in California, 2 in Hawaii, and then this location in Mesa, Arizona, which opened in February of 2024. Seeing old PlayStation stuff always makes me happy, but they do carry a lot of modern games as well. They have a better selection here than places like Target do. They do carry a mix of import games from Japan and North American releases as well. And as you can see, they've got a lot of them. They're stacked floor to ceiling. But I was more interested in checking out the retro games. Here's a whole case of Nintendo Famicom games, which that was released as the Nintendo NES here. But all of these Japanese Famicom games are actually playable on a regular North American Nintendo Entertainment System if you have a cheap adapter. And a lot of these games are completely playable by somebody who doesn't speak Japanese. For example, you don't have to understand Japanese to play Balloon Fight or Mega Man. And here are Super Famicom games which are playable in a North American SNES if you have the right tool. Here's some more boxed Famicom games. This one here is called Spartan X, which this is Kung Fu here in the United States. I haven't seen this many Japanese imports outside of a convention before. It's really nice to see all this. Down at the bottom here they've got drawers of N64 games, and these can also be played in an American N64 if you have the right tool. This one here is Mario Kart. And something to note about the Japanese releases is they are often a little bit cheaper than North American releases of the same games. And I haven't played Wave Race in forever. They also have North American releases of games. Here's Nintendo Entertainment System games. And then more drawers of Famicom games. This is the original Super Mario Bros., and Bowser looks a little bit different on the Japanese release. There's also a lot of games that weren't released in North America. For example, here's Ultraman. And I'm not sure which game this is. This one's obviously Pac-Man, and sometimes I like the Japanese release label art better than the American label art. And again, it goes floor to ceiling here. Now here's a wall of Game Boy games. This is one of the systems that I am still actively collecting for, and the cool thing about Game Boy games is they are region free. You can pop a Japanese game into an American Game Boy and it'll play fine. It's cool to see them in these little baggies with the Bookoff price tags. I haven't been to a Bookoff store in Japan, but I've seen a lot of videos and pictures from them, and they use these same little plastic baggies, so it's kind of neat to see that here. Japanese Game Boy games are often also a little bit cheaper than their North American counterparts. Now here's a game I don't have. This is a Galaga Galaxian combo cart, and this one's enhanced for the Super Game Boy. I'm gonna grab this one. It's only $3, that's a smoking deal. This glass case has some of their retro consoles for sale, and this is almost like a museum exhibit with all the old Game Boys and the Sega Dreamcast there, and there's even a stack of PlayStation 1 consoles. They also carry modern consoles as well. Here's some Nintendo Switch consoles, and they've got several PlayStation 4 consoles. Something else they sell here is a large selection of little collectibles and prizes from gashapon machines and things like that. And it's amazing to see them all bagged up individually like this. It's so well organized. Some of the stuff looks like trading cards. They've even got Happy Meal toys from McDonald's in Japan. This is a Mario that's supposed to go up and down the flagpole when you push the button, but that's not going to work in this plastic baggie. Speaking of gashapon machines, they've got a lot of those as well. There's a whole wall of them. And I've always thought these machines were way cooler than the crappy capsule toy machines we have here in the United States in grocery stores. I have seen some of these machines start to pop up in malls and kiosks, but there's usually only about a dozen machines or so. There's never this many of them. Why would I want a sticky hand that's gonna stop working because it gets all gross after a few minutes when I could get a pensive gorilla? Or I could get a Kirby. Everybody loves Kirby. Kirby's way better than a fake mustache. They've also got a lot of those anime figurines and statues. And again, they're all very well organized. They also have a glass case with the more expensive half-naked anime girls. It's amazing how much stuff they fit in this store when it's so small and still have it look organized. This has quickly become one of my favorite stores to just walk around and look at everything. They also have a lot of comic books and manga to look at. And again, it's all very well organized in issue number order. There was an employee going around throughout the store constantly refacing the shelves and making everything look nice again. It seems like all of the good stuff that I've heard about Bookoff stores in Japan has carried over to their stores here in the United States. This place really is like a paradise for nerds, and if you're into nerdy stuff and you live somewhere in the United States where you're lucky enough to have one of these stores nearby, I would definitely recommend paying it a visit. Even though the stores aren't very big, you could probably spend a few hours looking at everything in here. If you're into record collecting, they've got you covered here as well. Before we look closer at these though, I noticed right to the left they had a bunch of cards for various trading card games. They've got lots of drawers here full of Pokemon cards from Japan and the United States. There's cards for a One Piece game there that I didn't even know existed. I'm not really into the trading card game thing, but it is still fun to look at. And there's Yu-Gi-Oh cards as well. I haven't heard anybody talk about Yu-Gi-Oh in many, many years. I didn't even know that was still a popular thing. Here's a closer look at the records. And just like all of their other media, there is a mix of import stuff here as well as domestic stuff. I did a video a few videos back covering how physical media is disappearing from a lot of retail stores. So this store is really just a treat to walk through and see things like CDs and physical video games on shelves again, even if they are used. It was also really nice to visit a store and do a video on it that wasn't just completely depressing. Now it's time to head on out of this Bookoff though. I'm gonna go home and play some video games. Here's that Japanese Game Boy game I picked up, and as you can see it plays just fine on an American Super Nintendo with an American Super Game Boy. I'm trying to get all of the Super Game Boy enhanced Game Boy games, and I definitely don't mind having a Japanese copy in my collection as a placeholder, especially for only $3. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and play some Galaga. As always everyone, thanks for watching. Want to see your name here? Head on over to patreon.com/Retail Archaeology to find out how you can help support the channel. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out my video on Bookoff. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons, and also follow at the social media links down there because that's the best way to keep up with what's going on with the Retail Archaeology channel.